Even before 2020, under normal circumstances, it was sometimes difficult to meet up with friends. Obviously, if you have friends who live very far away, you won't be able to see them very often. That cannot be prevented. But meeting your more local friends is also rather complicated, more so than it needs to be. And no, I'm not talking specifically about 2020. Even without a situation that is thought of as a crisis, you can barely manage to ever meet up. Oh sure, people do have days that they are not busy. There are days when we are not at work, not trying to take care of the house, or when we are not going to some kind of mandatory gathering. But unfortunately, those days that we are free are almost never the exact same days that our friends too are free. Maybe you say, yeah, that sucks. It does make me sad that I cannot see my friends very often, but that cannot be prevented. That's just how the world works. Just accept that this is how it is. It's only a small price to pay for the prosperity that the miracle of capitalism has bestowed upon us. A lot of people think this way. A lot of people just accept that this is how it is. I think that's unfortunate, because even before all those things happened, we actually were in a crisis already. I believe that in its entirety, society has been in a state of disorder for decades. You may think that's a bit of an exaggeration. You might even doubt that I can possibly be serious, but I am. I don't think we should be so patient with a problem that can be solved so easily. Obviously, I do not deny that our ancient forefathers were unenlightened. I do not deny that our grandparents and the people before them had massive blind spots. But there's one thing that their society certainly did way better than ours. And it's all got to do with that Dark Age holiday, the Sabbath. I grew up in a small, backwards little town that still honored that Sabbath. And one day, on a Sunday, we saw a foreigner hanging around in the shopping center. He was looking rather upset. "Why is the supermarket closed?" he asked. "Well, good sir, it's a Sunday." And he looked at us with actual terror in his eyes. He could not believe that people so backwards could still exist in this enlightened century. Because this age has done away with all such childish things. But there in that small backwards little town, there was actually a day that you were virtually guaranteed to be able to see your friends. And the price you had to pay for such luxury was next to nothing. You just couldn't go to the supermarket on a Sunday. A privileged middle-class person might be just a little annoyed by that, but imagine how much more pleasant life would be for the low-skilled workers in such a culture. I once saw a delivery person deliver something at the house of a Karen, and it was a Sunday, and the Karen said, "Have a nice weekend." It's really strange how it doesn't quite dawn on people how much a 24/7 economy ruins society. People think of this problem so lightly that they don't even realize at all that the word weekend means almost nothing to most low-skilled workers. It's quite unfortunate that people are so brainwashed by the powers that be, because it's really easy to see that our society could be made miles better with just this one simple change to how we live. But our capitalist ruling class has unfortunately decided that our society is meant to regard the Sabbath as something very primitive. We are supposed to think of ourselves as knowing better than those savages in the Dark Ages that so oppressively forced all those people to take the same day off. It's not technically racism to look down on people who lived in the Dark Ages, but it's actually quite similar. If you think you know literally everything better than, for example, the ancient Israelites, it's kind of arrogant and self-righteous of you. Sure, we don't do things like slavery or the death penalty, but that doesn't make us more evolved. We too are the same breed of human, and our society too has developed moral blind spots that just like them. Don't be so arrogant as to think that humanity has actually evolved since the Dark Ages. We haven't. We have just learned to make different mistakes. What's funny about modern day society is that it's believed that a person or a group of people must either be stand or cancelled. Nowadays there's no middle way anymore, no room for nuance. You either have to say, yes, I stand these ancient people and their practices, or no, I reject these practices and these ancient people are cancelled. People pretend there's no middle way, while there obviously is. It's totally valid to appreciate some elements of a moral framework while rejecting others. I don't see how it would not be. Quite frankly, it's very stupid to reject the idea of a Sabbath, purely because you don't think slavery is okay.